Well, Laura, thanks so much for joining me today. Many of our viewers probably are familiar with your work. For those who are not, I thought it might just be a good idea for you to share a little bit about why you decided to become a pro-life advocate. It's not necessarily a field that is easy to get into. So if you could just share a little bit about why this is such a strong conviction for you personally and how you came to this point in your life.
Okay. Well, I think the main reason I'm anti-abortion is because I'm a Christian. And so a lot of my views come out of that. But I went to school for theater and music. And yeah, I was working professionally in an opera company and at the same time starting Choice for Two. And I just really felt that was, worth essentially leaving my job for, because I realized what abortion is. And, it's the slaughter of humans before they're born. And yeah, it's not an easy thing to get into this movement, because you are not politically correct, according to, the standards of the media and the culture as a whole. But I just felt so strongly about it once I realized what abortion was, and once I realized how huge it is in our country, and I realized Canadians have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So at what point was this though? Was this like a conviction you had as a Christian throughout your life? Or was there like a moment where you're like, oh my God, like when did it happen that you had this sort of awakening to realize this is what's going on and I absolutely need to do something about it?
Oh, when I was a really young child, I saw the people standing at the side of the road with the graphic images, and I
Mhm.
saw that. And it was at that moment when I realized this is wrong. And as I grew older, I learned more and more about it. I started volunteering at our local pregnancy resource center. And from there is where I really got the idea to start Choice for Two, to do specifically the things that we're doing.
Mhm. So now you mentioned that most Canadians don't know what's going on. And I think to a staggering degree, most Canadians, when you talk to them about what the legal status surrounding abortion is in Canada, they literally won't believe you. You often
Yeah.
have to pull up resources to prove it to them. So for maybe
Yeah.
viewers who aren't familiar with the legal status of abortion in Canada, could you sort of give us the rundown?
Sure. Well, Canada is the only Western country that does not have an abortion law, meaning it's legal to get an abortion at any point throughout your pregnancy for any reason.
Mhm. So, for any reason whatsoever, for the entire duration of a pregnancy, it is
Yes.
legal in Canada to have an abortion. Just for those of you who don't know that, look it up, pull up Wikipedia, whatever you want to do. That is the current status of laws surrounding abortion in Canada. It's pretty staggering. Now, you mentioned also that around that time you started working on Choice for Two. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
Sure. So it's an anti-abortion organization, and we kind of have two goals. On the one hand, we're working to educate the public on abortion and what it is, and hopefully encouraging people to get involved toward ending it. And on the other side of things, we are connecting with women who are considering abortion and able to speak with them and offer real practical help to get them through the crisis that they're facing, because the pregnancy is not the crisis. It's all these other situations in the woman's life. So we help her with that so that she is able to not murder her child.
And I think I've seen some of the campaigns. Like you'll post, you'll have someone verify this, so it's very sort of on the level. You'll go confirm that the person is in this situation. It isn't a
Yeah.
questionable circumstance or someone trying to take advantage of you. And
Right.
once that's confirmed, you guys, what's the process? What do you do to help a person who's experiencing a difficult pregnancy?
Right. Well, a lot of it is emotional support, and we have, people on our team constantly in touch with women. Yeah, as you mentioned, we have in-person meeting with people that we set up any sort of fundraiser or baby registry for. So they are verified in person. They have to prove who they are. They have to prove that they're pregnant, that kind of thing. Because unfortunately, there are so many scammers, and they do target our organization. And so once the person meets in person, and also us speaking with the woman, we figure out what her needs are. And we can pretty much do like almost anything that she would need. I mean, we've paid rent, but today we bought groceries for a woman in Texas, like all kinds of random stuff. We paid for babysitting so a woman could finish her college degree. And then we do the baby registries, where we create a registry for all the things that she needs or wants, and we post it online, and people can buy items off there, and then it gets delivered directly to her.
Well, and I think very often you'll hear people say that, well, you're pro birth, but you don't really care about the mother or the baby. And
Right.
I mean, this is probably one of the strongest counterpoints, because I'll see you post an Amazon registry that's like an entire baby registry, like for a full baby shower, and the
Yeah.
thing is gone, and they've sold out in within a day, right?
Usually an hour.
Usually an hour. So you're
I
providing
know.
everything. And what's
Yeah.
the response from mothers once they've realized that they're not alone and that there's going to be someone there for them?
Yeah. They're overwhelmed. Like, they can't believe that total strangers would care enough to buy them a gift. And some of the gifts, some things are quite pricey, like a
Mhm.
crib or a stroller. Like, you're talking a couple $100s, and people want to help. The
Yeah.
movement wants to help. So yeah, they're blown away.
Yeah, that's incredible. Maybe, I don't know if you're willing, but if you could share maybe one example or something that's come up, a recent story of an actual mother, by all means, use a made up name or use a letter instead. But maybe if people could hear an actual story of something that you've gone through where someone contacted you and what their experience was like.
Oh, I mean, there's so many. A woman that I'm talking to right now, she, no, I'll give you a story of a baby that was just born, because
Okay.
people won't be able to figure her out. There was a woman, and she already had children. And the man said that if you don't abort, I'm leaving you. And like, just totally peacing out. And she contacted us, just kind of asking for help and saying, she didn't think abortion was right. She hadn't ever really thought about it that much. She's pregnant. She didn't know what to do. She didn't have any support. And so, we just talked things through with her. And the man had actually scheduled an abortion for the next day for her, which is often the case, that the man is scheduling the abortion.
Mhm.
So, my body, my choice. A lot of the times it's really the man pushing for it, although
Yeah.
it is ultimately her choice. There's a lot of pressure. So anyway, we talked with her. We just, said, regardless of your situation, which is temporary, this child is here alive and breathing, and it's wrong to kill this child, and we will help you. And she stood up to him. He left. We ended up paying all her hospital bills. We ended up paying her rent. We ended up doing the baby registry, and the baby was born, I think, 3 days ago, a little girl. So yeah, there's a
So
story.
literally saving lives like almost on a daily basis. I just want to add that shame on that man. I'm going to call him a boy because a man wouldn't
Yeah.
do that. So
Yeah.
shame on him, and God bless you and God bless her. And we'll certainly include little baby in our prayers as we move forward. So thanks for sharing that story. That story is a prime example of the type of incredible charitable works that you guys are doing. But as you mentioned, your endeavors are two-pronged. And I think that perhaps there might be a little bit of a dichotomy between the compassionate and loving outreach that you extend to these women, and the uncompromising and unflinching videos and media you put out there to get the message out and generate conversation. I want to really quickly cut to, and I think we're going to play it in full, the human sacrifice video that you guys put out recently. So we'll pause for a second. We'll cut to that and watch that. Then we'll come back and continue our conversation.
Child sacrifice. Barbaric. Evil. Ancient. Modern. There's nothing new under the sun. Throughout history, children have been sacrificed to a variety of deities in attempts to gain favor or blessings. Aztecs cut their children's hearts out to appease the gods of rain and war. Incas sacrificed their children to the sun god so their crops would flourish. Canaanites sacrificed their infants to Moloch for prosperity. Drums were played loudly to drown out the baby's screams. Child sacrifice never stopped, and we still don't hear their screams. There's nothing new under the sun. We sacrifice our children today, not for rain or war victories, but for freedom or convenience. We sacrifice to gain favor in the workplace. or for the blessings of money or fame. We sacrifice our babies on the altar of free sex. Child sacrifice is no longer a public event. It's done behind closed doors. Rather than a gory burning or bloody stabbing, it's become a neat, sterile, and clinical event. We don't throw our children into the fire or leave them to freeze to death. We starve our babies. We poison them. We rip off their arms and legs and crush their skulls. We call it choice. We call it empowerment. And our culture condones it. We celebrate it. We celebrate baby murder. We consider it vital to our existence. It's become a right. But nothing is different. There's nothing new under the sun. Innocent human beings are still being sacrificed for the selfish gains of those more powerful. Modern child sacrifice is thriving. We must end it. End abortion.
So, startling video, maybe not something you would expect to see coming out of the pro-life movement. Very aesthetically pleasing, extremely challenging, making a point that I don't think is necessarily shying away from the core of the controversy. I mentioned earlier that perhaps there's a dichotomy. Do you think that on one hand, providing sort of unconditional and compassionate charity, and then on the other hand, putting out these strong, often conversation-rousing pieces on social media, is there a conflict there, or are those two sort of mutually inclusive or necessary?
I used to think there would be a conflict when we started doing it because, it just seems it would be that way. But it's the truth. And one of the ways that we really love on the women who are considering abortion is we give them the truth. If we don't give them the truth, we're not ultimately loving them because they might go ahead and murder their child if they're not given the full truth. Mm-hmm. So it does go together. And the other thing is the videos have such success. They have so much reach. That's how we actually end up meeting with a lot of women. So the videos, they watch it and they're kind of like, whoa, and then they check out the organization and they message us. So it's working in terms of reaching people and also being truthful. And, when we talk to women one-on-one, we're very nice people. So, so it kind of, it all works together.
If you'd like to get access to my show, as well as other great TV-style shows too, like Ezra's Nightly Ezra Levant Show, and David Menzies' Friday night show, Rebel Roundup, just go to rebelnews.com/subscribe. That's rebelnews.com/subscribe.